What's up, everyone? What's up? If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands, as they said. Bob Proctor stated that. Now, guys, I'm back. I owe you another one from yesterday. Got busy trying to build up a funnel that I'm about to release here shortly. I'm always on the go trying to do something that's better to help me, God. Dealing with nonsense today. Dealing with nonsense for the Navy. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. I'm not going to let that bring my spirit down. Nothing bad happened as far as like, oh, you're done. Because they can't do you that, like, the secret. They won't let you leave based off of where I'm at now in my position. I got tenure, so I'm not worried about that. It's just the nonsense of babysitting people for today. And I hate this. I hate the let up gospel. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to get myself straight in here. I'm in the restroom. I didn't do anything in here as of right now. But give me 1 second. So, with everything going on, yeah, I pulled up my pants. My button popped off. Ain't that something? That should tell me something. That should tell me something. But it's dealing with the nonsense of babysitting. And I didn't join the Navy to be a babysitter. And it's one of the little triggers that helped me make the determination that I want to do my own business. I don't want to have a bunch of employees. Now, I know that sounds crazy. That sounds cruel and stuff. But that's what the Navy's becoming. And dealing with people who are playing games with your time. For me, I had a sailor today, and a sailor who basically last week wanted to know how to become an officer, comes from Nigeria, said he wants to do this, he wants to do that. And I'm listening to him, I said these are the options because I went through OCS. And a couple of guys supporting me went to OCS, but we have a couple of LDOs, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. And he's talking all this good talk, and he come to tell one of our folks for medical field that he might hurt himself. Now, I do take ideation, suicide stuff seriously, but you don't go from one thing to another. That's just too crazy. And then come to find out, he's telling everyone that he didn't know that the ship was an active duty ship. I can't make this up. He said he didn't know that the ship's going to go out to sea and that he was active duty, even though our CAT cards tell us if we're active or reserve, things like that. So it cracks me up right there. So now that whole thing about being an officer stuff, that's not going to happen. And the whole thing is that he's butthurt is because he's going to have to go through the paperwork. And a lot of people, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people are joining the military outside of this country, out of the United States. So you got a lot of people serving the USA. They're not even citizens of the country. And ain't they something? And I'm not being funny. I'm not making up any crap or anything like that. But it makes you wonder about the priorities of our nation. It makes us wonder, like, hey, who is serving the country? Is it the people, for the people, we the people, or for other people to get into the country to get citizenship? Because that's the only thing his focus was. It's not about anything else. But I guess his mindset was set to be like, hey, I want to do this. I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do to make myself better. And the best way I'm going to make myself better is tell this fib, which this fib is now become something very seriously. Now, I won't miss that going into Bahrain and whatnot. The thing that I'm focused on, because of just dealing with the nonsense, it's just the headaches and the crap. And I told y'all that we're going to solve it. And aspirin's not going to solve this. What we're going to do is basically break down a funnel and rebuild it up to something a lot better. It's going to have voice activation, meaning that if someone opts into my funnel, I'm going to be talking to them. I have a recorded me talking to them. I'm going to have a text message going out to them. We're getting everything put together. So I just got finished putting something up with my partner. I had to get off the phone, off my personal phone, because the phone went dead. So me and her are going to talk later on, hopefully tonight, if the phone charges up. But for me, guys, I talk about if you could see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. That's something that Bob Proctor put out It's not something that I made up, but what Bob Proctor put out. And cut this TV off. But the catch is, I just mute it. The catch is to that is that if you really want something, you're not going to let anything come in your way. If you can focus your mind on truly what you want to have, it will come true. But you will have to apply yourself to doing it. So let's look at my vision board. That's one of the ways I apply to it. So look at the vision board here. And as you see, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. But I say hands because you got two hands. We see a house, lovely houses, like an interior, exterior. We see more Bob Proctor, and we're going to get this thing built up even more. I'm going to build up another vision board. I'm not even going to send this off. I'm going to keep this here, and I'm going to build up another vision board when I get the bar rank. Debt elimination. We're looking at following Christ, becoming like Christ, which this has become more than anything that I've been doing right now, following Christ, doing his ways, and just reading the Bible, get my mindset right. You know, suffering is a test. That's all it is. Suffering is the true test of life. I dealt with that today, just dealing with the headache of what I was told. Only God can stop me. I'm always saying that. Going up for 05 here in a couple of years. I'm not even having any doubts about that. And having debt, not debt, but having wealth. Plenty of wealth. Instead of having debt, we have wealth. And being stress-free. And, of course, the icon. A5 right there. That's the plane that me and my boy from ROTC, when I was back at A&T, me and him always talked about that. Like, hey man, I always love to fly. And he says he's going to take me on a plane ride. And he doesn't have that plane per se, but he knows about that plane. And I definitely want to learn how to fly. I want to do stuff that is way beyond what the Navy has to offer me. And the reason why I say that is because I think there's limitations to be in the service. To be honest with you, yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of things you can take away from it. But with the situation that's going on with the economy, with the inflation going on, and with the limitations that we place or we have placed on us, we cannot accomplish the things that we truly want in our lifetime. Now, what does that mean, Luke? You say the mouthful. So there's no pension, right? There's no pension for these new guys coming in. There's no pension coming in. You have to do this whole savings plan that they have. And there's three ways to have money. There's three ways to have money truly work for you. Either you can go, or not work for you. There's three ways you can use money. You can spend your money. You can go buy the latest clothes, the suits, things like that. Stay broke, stay in debt with that money. Or whatever, latest gadgets or whatnot. Doesn't have to be resorting to shoes or clothes and things like that. Guys have toys too. Then you have the other thing that's going on. The other thing that is going on is saving. Meaning that you put your money in a savings account and you let it get not even 0.5% of interest rate. Because, you know, they're not going to give you any high interest rate. I found that out over a decade ago. They're giving you meager pennies when I put my stuff in CDs. Yeah, you could put yourself on a 401k, you can put it in the market or whatnot, but there's always risk in everything that we do. And then you can invest. You can start putting your money into investment tools. You can start putting your money into projects. You can start really making your money do some stuff. For me, I do Airbnbs, or we will be doing Airbnbs. We do car rentals. I do funnels. I do digital marketing. And I also do, on top of that, I do the whole thing with the ATMs that's about to be launched here come the new year. So we're about to get my team together and get this going. If you want to know what I'm doing, that's got all my coats. I'm about to hang them up upstairs where they need to be. So guys, for me, I'm not looking at one source of income, and you shouldn't be looking at one source of income either, because it's too much to risk. For example, if you have one source of income coming in, right? One source of income. How vulnerable are you if your boss come to you and say, that's it, you're done. You're no good to me. You don't have what it takes. Basically, they're writing you off. They're not allowing you to advance and do the things. How would that put you? Well, that limits your resources. A lot of guys who say, well, I can make it to 04 and stay at 04, they could do that, right? I knew guys who did that. But the problem with that was that when they did that, they had to go work another job. They had to go work another job. And the reason why they had to go work that other job is because they didn't have no income to replace that higher tier money that they have. That's why you got some of these folks now who stay until they make '05 or possibly '06, and then pull the car to get out because of the retirement, because they're not paying you other than 50% of your base pay. So for me, if I was to retire, right, I'd probably be making, with base pay, probably like $2,500 rest of my life, right? That's not a lot of money unless you're going to go live in another country. So instead of just take that L, instead of going through all that nonsense, this is where we make the investment tools. This is the time where we make our connections. This is our time where we have multiple streams of income and you have a team. You can't do this by yourself. I tell this to everyone. You cannot do this by yourself without having a strong team or building your team or developing your team. I tell people that all the time. Like, I was on a phone call talking to my partner. Now, it's funny that my partner, me and her, used to be together as a couple or whatnot. And it's funny that we're now doing things as what a couple would do. We're not getting back together, but as a couple would do to build each other up, saying, hey, we need to start looking at this. And she came up with a brilliant idea with a future project down the line a couple of years from now. So that tells me that, okay, where I'm going to Bahrain for the military, I can able to get more reach. Now, we talk about business credit. We talk about using business credit. We also got to look at the funding too. So as that money comes through, some of that money needs to be funneled into a bank account, a business bank account. So if you have a business bank account, you can put some of that money in there and just leave it alone, which I typically do. Now, there's some things that you're going to pay expenses and things that you're going to cut back on. But overall, you can save yourself in the long run. Now, the whole thing came about with the meeting today. You know, talking to people who have negative aspects of what I should be doing, what they think, how situations going. And I tell people this, and you're going to have this too at your job. If you're working a 9-to-5 job or whatever, or any type of job with politics, don't let their opinions be their final narration of you. Okay? Their opinion does not constitute a fact about you. If you let people do this to you, then you're going to believe what they're saying. You're going to allow the self-fulfilling prophecy take place. You are better than that, and you know you can make this happen. I will tell you this each and every day, because for me, before I went into that meeting, I basically told myself, we got to get our mind right and our spirit right, okay? From what I got is that it was going to be confrontational. Even though it's supposed to be my last day. Confrontational, you know, not sitting down. I read body language. When you have a conversation with someone, usually you're supposed to sit down. Unless it's like over you, pointing down, like if you was down here where those white shoes are at, and I'm up here, it's like, oh, I'm higher than you, basically. Which we already know you got a high ranking or whatever, but it didn't make any sense to do that. So a lot of ego stroking, which I do not do. And I'll tell people, I learned that from my father, and I love my father. I love my whole family. He told me you can never serve two masters. Never bow down to no one. You are a free man. And trust me, when I say free man, I'm a free man. You don't let anyone compromise your integrity. I'm not talking about doing something illegal, because he start talking some weird, funky stuff, and he sound more, more idiotic than anything, right? Yeah, I think he wanted to be a pop-off conversation. I was just like, I don't have time for that. For me, cool, calm, collected. A lot of people will tell you that I keep my cool. It's only certain times I'm going to snap. And the times that I used to snap, if you touch my sister, you touch my family member any type of way or anything like that, a snap is going to happen. If you try to lay hands on me, a snap is going to happen. Anything that's going to cause bodily harm to someone that I care about, a snap is going to happen. And when I mean a snap, because I used to have anger issues. When a snap takes place, I'm referring to a situation where if I was to just break out in a fight, and I had a cousin who did that. He basically, Alexa, turn on the bulb light.
Okay.
Got the light come on. Alexa, turn the bulb light to white.
Okay.
Alexa, increase the illumination to 100%.
Sorry, what device?
Alexa, increase the bulb light illumination to 100%.
Okay.
You gotta love that. It's like Star Trek right there. So anyway, talking about this, I had a cousin who did this when we were playing football. Guy told me, "Get out my seat, boy." You know, I'm from the South, so when he meant boy, he was coming off with a racial tone with boy. And my cousin was like, "I'm not getting out the seat." Now, let alone that, my cousin, he's a big dude. I'm not talking about fat. I'm talking about built, like built. He's still built like that. And this was like over 20 years ago. And the guy was like, "Get out my seat now, boy." And he jacked him up and put him in the corner. Like if this was the corner of the bus, he put him at the corner of the bus right there, right? So he put him at the corner and held him up there. And people was like, "Get him off, get off him, get off him." So he got him off. You know, he did his thing, got off. And then my cousin finally got off the bus. He got off the bus. He starts scratching his head. Just like this, like, "What's going on?" Not like he didn't say what's going on. His facial expression like, "What's going on?" And then he looked to find that guy, and he laid into him. He laid into him so bad. I mean, he beat the dude up, and the dude was an upperclassman. Imagine you being an upperclassman getting your ass whooped, right? He seen it in his mind that he was going to whoop that dude's ass for disrespecting him, right? And who can you blame? You can't blame no one but yourself, right? So he did that, right? And he faced the repercussions of doing that. Now, trying to get this light up. When he did that, he opened up a spark of whoop ass in my cousin. And that's what I'm called a snap. That's a true snap when you minding your business and people disrespect you to a physical point. Because my cousin was like, "Okay, you can talk crazy to me all day. That's not going to hurt me, right? We got thicker skin than that in our family." But when you start laying hands, on people. Like my cousin got my back. I'm probably going to call because I'm thinking about him. My cousin, anyone touch me, come in there. And that's how it needs to be. But going into the meeting, I knew in my mind, I seen it in my mind, it's like, okay, he's going to talk his craziness. So don't even entertain having a conversation, trying to argue, trying to convey your thoughts. He's not there to convey thoughts. He's there just to be like, "I don't think this, that." And you're going to have bosses like that, right? But my thing was like, you're going to be next to you're going to be that one boss that if I stay in the Navy, the only reason I stay in there is to make that promise to myself, to my grandparents, that I was going to do my time, right? If I stay and do my time, that's it. It's not for you. It's not worry about, "Oh, you don't think I'm going to make this rank," or he didn't say it like this, or "You're going to have to change your thing or change a different career." I'm doing both right now. The whole idea is that even if, and we don't want to put doubt in our mind, I already talked about limitations. In a situation where it's like, "Well, we don't think you're going to make this rank or whatever," that's not the end of the world. And you're not going to sit here be struggling like some of these guys who don't make that rank, trying to figure out what's going on with their life. What's going to take place is exactly this. All those businesses that we listed, all that stuff is still going on while I'm out of the country. We already got the arrangement taken care of, right? So as that takes place, what's gonna happen is that you continue to do your job. All these things that we talk about is truly passive, right? Or semi-passive, where I have a partner go fill up an ATM machine, or I have a partner who's getting the Airbnb arranged and they just need my signature on this unit, or I got a vehicle that I'm purchasing with my business credit. That's still going to take place. So when I get back, even if, like, I didn't take the bonus money, I did not want the bonus money, right? So even if we go through this path, right, and say we're going to do it this way, and you might say, "Luke, why didn't you take the bonus? What bonus money are you talking about?" They have a retention bonus, right? The idea, and this might be a deal breaker with the promise I made for my grandparents. If I come out with $500,000, right? $500,000 within 3 years with my business, right? All these businesses put together, I gotta leave. Because now I'm managing all this money. I don't have time to deal with this stuff. I have to manage some stuff because a lot of things happen. I state this too. I talked about having a reason why. Why are you doing all these businesses? Why don't you just focus on your job and this and that? For me, it's about satisfaction, but most importantly, it's about my family. My mom is up in age. My father is up in age. He just had strokes, right? He just had a few strokes within this year. And I don't have much time with them. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but my father's 80. You know, we're trying to keep him calm and stuff like that. And my mom's 75, 76 years old, right? I don't have a family, right? So as time ticks away, even though I'm in the Navy, this and that, I'm missing out on a family. Both ways, both fronts. I don't have a family of my own. I'm not married. And then on top of that, I've lost my grandma. And I lost her one. I mean, lost. I never got to see her. Remember, I talked about that. If you didn't see the video, go back and check that out. I'm not going to repeat myself. And my father had a stroke. And I talked to him, but you could hear it in his voice. I could hear people's inflections. That's one thing I learned about when I used to work at AT&T. You can read body language, and you can understand people's inflections in their voices to be able to understand what their hearts and minds is at. And for me, I got to make time. And how you make time, you free yourself of the thing that's taking the most out of your time. So again, what do you feel comfortable with? That's the question that I ask everyone. What do you feel comfortable with walking away from your job? And I say $500,000. People are, that's a whole lot. But when you think about it, you can't make that happen. That's not a hard thing. Because even with what we're doing now, you might say, that's not making a lot of money doing that. You got to think about a multiplier. And then on top of that, you got to think about where you ultimately putting your money into. Because these ain't the only things that we're looking at. These are mediums to get us in the direction that we need to go to. The ultimate mediums to be real estate, right? To be able to own multiple properties, to own them. Not to rent them out, but to own them and then be able to use them the way you need to use them, whether it's commercial property or residential property. So we're looking at that direction right there, my team. And we're looking to make sure that we secure our financial freedom and to have wealth, not just any type of wealth, but have generational wealth. So when my kids come up, I don't have kids, again, don't have a wife. When my kids come up, they ain't got to have to work for anyone. They don't have to go kiss no one's ass. What they will do is learn the business so they can keep that business in the family. And that's the way you need to do. I don't want you to feel sad. I don't want you to feel down when people talk shit in your face. But you got to have your mindset. Whether you got to prep your mindset, whether you got to envision how the conversation will go. Because I envision it many ways. And I was like, you know what? The best way, I was looking at Bishop T.J. Jakes. I don't know why I keep messing up his name. T.J. Jakes, right? I was looking at the pastor, or I was listening to his podcast to be exact, and he said, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to try to get inside your mind and make you think wrong about yourself. They're going to make you think that you're jacked up. I literally listened to that before I went in there. He said, what you have to do is stay grounded in God. You have to stay grounded in God and be able to follow his path no matter what. It's just like if you get in a firefight and they teach you the training, you don't run and run off and be like, I'm just shooting at me. You are trained to stay there, assess the situation, and be able to fight instead of flight. Same thing with my teachings, the things that I learned, my beliefs, right? I stay grounded in my teachings that I have, right? The things that actually help me, the things that instill to me, you know. And Pastor T.J. Jakes was talking. He was talking exactly what I was feeling, what I was going through. And I said, you know what? We got this. We're not worried about it no more. Am I mad? Yeah, a little bit. But, you know, he said even with that, too, let that anger be used on a positive way. And what that means is that let God speak that glory, right? Let him speak that glory. You have that vision in your mind. Now you can hold it in your hands. You can be able to do the things that you need to do to get yourself in the right direction that you need to go to. You know what is at stake. You know what needs to be done. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to follow through, then what do you have to fall back on? Only thing you have to fall back on is your faith. Now, I'm talking on my behalf. I'm not sitting here trying to preach to you. I'm talking about what I go through, what I felt when I went through the meeting. But at the end of the day, I knew right then and there that this business was going to take off, because that was a sign from God to say, go do your thing. Go do your business. Go make this happen. So when people start talking crazy, they want to figure out what you've been doing. The results will speak for themselves. The results will speak for themselves. While they scratching their head, angry and things like that, don't even talk about it. I don't even talk about it with the people that I work with because it's none of their business. All they know is just like, well, he goes to work and that's it. I don't club. I don't go out here and party. I don't be doing a list of activities. I just keep myself clean and good because there's a lot of vices out here. There's a lot of temptations out here. But you have to focus in your mind the things that you truly want to have when you leave this earth. Whether you have kids or not, so be it. But if you're trying, even we breaking down here before you leave the earth, what are you trying to have? Are you trying to work the rest of your life? I'm not. Are you trying to be able to work where it doesn't feel like work? It feels like fun. You're not trying to deal with employees. That's me. I don't want to deal with it because it's just too much challenge things. And it's just back and back all the time. So I tell you guys, we have to focus the right way. We have to do it the right way. And you can't give up, okay? So guys, I hope that this reached out to someone who really want to make their life change. We can do that. I want you to have that. So please reach out to me if you have any questions or any issues. I'm here to help you out. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.